So we saw that types of the table spaces are undo, then permanent, temporary, and undo. So how do we create these things? Now the syntax for the creation. We have seen the creation of the table space, and that is basically a permanent table space. Now how do we create a temporary table space? That is the syntax that I'm going to give you here. And the syntax is, there are multiple syntax. I'm going to give you kind of only one here. Create create table space. The name of the table space may be this time temp3. Then everything else is same as the previous one. Then data file, and in single quotes you will put the name of the data file. Then you will also
temp file is there, not a data file.
you can say that. You can say this also. I will show you. There are multiple ways. Then data file, name of the data file. Then size. The size is, let us say, 1 gigabyte. And finally you keep the word temporary. Finally you keep the word temporary. So this is one way of creating a temporary table space. Okay, create table space, temp3. Everything is the same, just you add the word temporary at the end. Or another syntax, I will just change this thing now. Okay, another syntax is create. After the create, you're going to add a word temporary. Create temporary table space, temp3, and then instead of data file, you are going to say temp file. And when you say this thing, you don't have to specify temporary word here. Oh, so these are the two ways of creating a temporary table space. Create temporary table space, temp3, temp file. This is not data file now, this is temp file. Size, the name of the file, and size is 1 gigabyte. That's it. So this is how you create a temporary table space. Now how to create a undo table space? How to create an undo table space? Create undo table space, whatever name you want to give, maybe UT, undo table space, and then everything else is the same. Data file, the name of the data file, the size, the size of the data file, 1 gigabyte, all that stuff. That is what the undo table space management is. Undo table space creation is. So now we know that there are three types of table spaces. Permanent, we know how to create a permanent now. Temporary, we know how to create a temporary, and now we know how to create an undo table space. Let me repeat this. There will be multiple permanent table spaces. Example, system is a permanent table space, sysocs is a permanent table space. The examples that we saw, fin data, user data, those are all permanent table spaces. Temporary table space, there can be multiple temporary table space for your one database also. And usually for a smaller database, usually they keep only one, and they assign that as a temporary table space to all the users. So all the sorting and everything is done only in that one. For large amount of databases where there are huge amount of users, you may create multiple temporary table space. And finally, only one undo table space for the database. Only one undo table space. So these are the syntaxes for the whole thing. Then there are certain other syntax related things that I will kind of mention. Okay, user add data. Okay, obviously if you want to drop a table space now, and this would be a very rare situation, dropping a table space, but still I would kind of very rare situation. I don't think you will be executing this command anytime, but drop table space TS1. Usually the table spaces that you will be dropping are permanent table spaces. You won't be dropping undo table space, you won't be dropping temporary because those are required. So drop table space TS1. The table space will be dropped if there are no tables in it. It's just like a directory. You know, if your directory contains any files, then rmdir command will not be deleting the directory. So similarly, if there are any tables, that means if there are any segments inside this table space, the table space will not be dropped. That is number one. Assuming that there are no tables, no segments inside the table space TS1, we will execute this command. Once this command is executed, suddenly your database now will think that there is no table space called as TS1. When I say database will think that there is no table space TS1 means what? That means if you go and select from DBA underscore table spaces, if you go and select from DB underscore data underscore files, if you go and select from DB and V underscore table spaces, all those views which had earlier one row for that table space, that row will be gone, which means that that table space is gone and it is not there anymore. But the data file that was created, maybe 1 gigabyte of data file, that data file is not deleted. So this deletion, dropping of the table space will kind of make you think that the table space is gone. But in reality, on the operating system, on your C drive, on your OPD drive, your data file will still remain there and it will still occupy space. So you have to manually go and delete that data file using the rm command. But then you have other commands also. So you can say drop table space TS1 and then you can say including content. Including content means drop it even if there are tables in it. So tables will be gone, the table space will be gone, data file will still remain on the operating system. And if you want to get rid of the data files, you say here drop table space TS1 including content and data files. When you do this thing, the data file is also gone. The data file is sitting on the operating system. Nahin? Okay, you stop me whenever you have a question. So a table space is gone, the data files are gone, everything is gone when you execute this command. So this is how you will drop a.
But that file will hardly occupy any space, sir.
No, it will occupy 1 gigabyte of space. See, even if there is no data in any table space, even if there is, let me repeat this thing. Now let me start from the beginning. You just create a table space. Size of the table space is 1 gigabyte because size of the data file that you have just created is 1 gigabyte. What data is there in that 1 gigabyte table space? Nothing. Then why is it occupying 1 gigabyte? It will still occupy 1 gigabyte. It is reserved for that. And that is why it will still occupy 1 gigabyte even when you don't. And that's why the DBA free space, DB underscore free underscore space is a very important view. The table space may be 1 gigabyte. There is no table in that table space, so free space will be 1 gigabyte. So you have to know how much of free space is there in that table space, and that's why that view is there. DBA underscore free underscore space. So these are certain commands for the table space creation. Okay, so we'll go